at the threat from the Nigeria Labour Congress to the federal government of Nigeria. In a statement signed by the leader of the both union, Joe Ajaero, and Mr. Festus Sofo on Thursday, the organized labor expressed sadness that despite the passage of time, the majority of their agreement remain unmet by the federal government, and they describe it as deliberately attempt by the federal government to deny the Nigerian workers their welfare and right of Nigerian workers across the country. And they have said they are going all out to mobilize their members across the country to drop their tools against government forces. Let's look at it. Threat again and strike again. Which one will be suffer for the government?
The government, as it is, will not mind whatever is on board, because now they have a way of effectively doing whatever the labor union have come on board, because the labor union we have today, the labor union we had before now. You see a lot of things that happen that the labor union will not act as such when it's appropriate. Before now, actions are taken when they are in the front burner, when it is imperative, when it is immediate, and when it is spontaneous. But now, when me and you get used to the difficulties and challenges on ground, when we had removal of fuel subsidy by the president, fuel shot from 160-something, 190 to 600 and over 400 and 600, what did we do? And just got used to it and survived. Now, before now, Labour have gone on strike. The strike did not last 2 days. They call up the strike, and they say they have negotiated with the government with terms and conditions. Up till now, we have not met the terms and conditions. The 35% that was even agreed was not given. So if you see the trend, I think the government have now come to become so used to Labour that they don't take their threat any more serious. And that is the bane we have in the society, where leaders are supposed to do what they're supposed to do, don't do it as well as when they're supposed to do it. So now the threat, now you heard the Minister of Information saying they should shelve their strike, they should not do this now, they should stop what they are doing, and Labour said they are insisting. Are me and you sure that Labour will carry out this threat of strike? Are me and you sure that if this threat of strike is carried out, it will last? Or are you sure that this is not just a facade to deceive Nigeria, that they are actually working for Nigeria when at the end of the day they are not there doing anything for the country? Now the 35% palliative or salaries or monies that were supposed to be given to civil servants to assuage or encourage them to pass away through difficulty hasn't been paid up till now. What has Labour done about it? That is even the minimum of what was supposed to be on the table. That was not being implemented. So what's the guarantee that this threat of strike will see the light of day? And if you see the light of day, what's the guarantee that it will be effective? Because now, people have now devised means I just don't know how we are surviving in Nigeria. That is the truth. How we are surviving in Nigeria is to me a mystery. Including myself, how I'm surviving is a mystery to me. So if we have gone beyond this and we are seeing the day and surviving by the day, what is the strike going to give us anymore? What is the strike going to put on the table now? That is the challenge I have, that whether this strike is something that will be sent through by Labour.
Yeah, but we should expect that we should have a government that is responsible.
Exactly.
The Labour said they had an agreement and there were 16 points. Government have not met up to 3. The law, I think a responsible government should be able to meet some of these requirements, especially when it has to do with workforce.
I completely agree with you. And that's what is even government. Government is there for the welfare, well-being of its citizens. We are not supposed to suffer or groan unnecessarily under a responsible, caring, and responsive government. And that is where all elsewhere Labour are there to check government to be responsible in case government derails. And that's why I said from the beginning of my conversation that you will now ask spontaneously and immediately an action erupts. Or when the government is showing lack of concern for workers, you act immediately. When you let it be, and people come to get used to the status quo, that's the challenge I'm facing. Ordinarily now, should Labour go on strike before government knows that there's challenge and difficulties? You are aware of the uprising everywhere going up in Nigeria now, in Niger State, in Nasarawa State, where people are crying not for anything, but just for food. Recently, last week, it happened in Kano State. Can it be sustained? This is what Labour would have done before now. Not because when you leave it to the unorganized populace, it might spiral out of hand and lead to something we don't need. When we leave to organized labor, it will be well organized and results achieved. But the labor that we are leaving this thing for, before now, we act immediately. The labor now waits to be approached. I don't want to set certain things on air before they take reluctant steps that for the very beginning will collapse. So now the government is not responsive. The government is not responsible to their call and obligation. What is Labour supposed to do before now? Take front action and effectively ensure that your demands are met before calling off the strike. But now you just sign papers and you call off strike. And you think the government will not do the needful before they will go and implement what they have signed? They are waiting for us to call on another strike again. I don't know what to go and do in their boardroom, and they close the door behind me and you, and then they come back and say they have signed, and then the next day call off strike. People are wary of things. Because if you are not doing things the way they are supposed to be done, you will become wary of it. And that is where I'm afraid. The fight of labor has been taken to the street by uninformed person that might be hijacked, and the consequences might not be predictable by me and you. So the government is not responsible. So labor should do the needful as and when they are supposed to do the needful. We should not hear now that if they call us, if they go on this strike, it as if they ever go on the strike. After one day, they call it off and say, I've signed papers now. They did that recently. You saw it when they said they signed the 16-point agenda. They did not implement any of the agendas. You called off the strike. What's the guarantee that you'll not do the same thing this time around?
Barrister, what should the labor do if not strike? Strike seems to be the only option for the labor.
I agree with you, and I'm saying that is what labor should do. But now let them go call off this. They call this strike with sincerity of purpose. Okay. Let them not call this strike with the aim of whatever they gain or don't gain from it. Let them see this strike to its logical conclusion that before we call off strike, things must have been met. Backlog of the salary is supposed to be paid. Even the subsidy you want to remove or add, do it. Let there be empirical evidence of what is agreed upon happening before you call off strike. Not that you let Nigerian workers go on strike, so people must rest fortify themselves to stay for a while to ensure that the demands are met. Then the next day call them off again. Then tomorrow again say you should go on strike. The next day call off again. Doesn't make sense. So what I'm saying, yes, where government anywhere in the world is not responsive to action and needs of the populace, strike is the best way to go. But any person going on strike should go with a mind that I must see to the end of the strike. I must see that the demands, legitimate, reasonable demand, not just any type of demand, are met before strikes are called off. Not like you go on strike and in no time, without anything being met, you call off the strike and the next day you say go back to the strike. When did they call the last strike off? When did they go for a strike the last time? Not up to 3 months ago. And now you're calling another strike again. And say you're going to another strike again without being meeting. So if you go and sign another papers now, you call Nigerians out for strike again in the next 2 months. That's what I'm saying. Yes, strike is imperative, strike is necessary. That is the true labor need to use to make government do the needful. But I'm saying, labor, as you go call this strike, as you give this ultimatum, peradventure your demands are not met and you are going to go for this strike, please ensure that your demands are met so that me and you can benefit from why we are staying at home. Not that when we have not gotten anything at home, we stayed at home, sacrificed to be at home, and then at the end of the day, you come and say you have given us paper, look at the paper, go back to work, and after a while, nothing implemented in the paper. So labor, go on strike, that's your legitimate tool, that's the tool allowed by law. As you go on strike, ensure your demands are met so that the Nigerian workers, Nigerian populace, Nigerian people will benefit from what the state ought to give them, not as a privilege, but as a right.
We wish to state clearly that the government has failed to honor its agreement, and we are mobilizing our members across the country for effective strike. Words from the LOC and talking about the Nigerian Labour Congress. But let's come to the minister. It looks like the minister is already aware that his own party, talking about the government of the day, may have failed, and that is why he's appealing that they should hold on this strike. Looking at 16 points, and Labour said government has not even done up to 5 of them. I think government also deserves some level of blame, Barrister.
Of course. From all I'm saying is, government is at fault. The challenge I have is that Labour that are supposed to fight and do the needful.
Should have strike when it's very hot.
Exactly. That's just the right word to use. When it's very hot, then you hold on to what you are demanding for till it is met. Now, they have a renewed change, a renewed hope agenda. The hope should be, when you hope, you expect something better than where you are before. That is the campaign mantra of the president, renew hope. I mean, whatever hope you have before now is going to be renewed to be achieved and implemented. Now, we came with scarcity of fuel, and we have the dollar crashing down. I can assure you that you cannot go to the market today and buy something and go to the market tomorrow and buy the still at the same price. And you're not blaming the person because the severe fall of the dollar. Now, apart from that, there's no food security in the country now. Where me and you go to, we're just discussing offer before now, we go far and near to farm. You cannot dare go to any far place to farm now. People are forced to farm within home. And this land are not fertile because of construction work on the ground. So where we go to farm and get dividends, fruitful bounties of harvest, are no more there because of bandits and kidnappers, and they have made every place in Nigeria unsafe. Now you go and buy food, even if you manage to farm, bringing the food stuff to where it is needed is a challenge. And this is just the elementary function of government, basic security of Nigerians or the citizens. And now you are not secured. And now there's no food. And now the foreign reserve is more or less depleted. And now your exchange rate has collapsed completely. And you are a government, I say it's a renewed hope. Workers are earning 30,000 salary a month. Legislatures are earning millions as their budget. You are aware of the fact that a committee, the 37-man committee set up by the federal government to just review workers' salary, demanded for 1.8 billion. It was reduced to 1 billion before the president said 500 million is even outrageous. But that's what a 37-man committee are supposed to deal with. So if you see what is happening, can you say the government is doing right? No. Has the government been able to meet the responsibility of the people? No. Has the government been able to meet the basic tenets of government, which is basic welfare of its people? No. So now we have seen all this, and that's where Labour should have held government accountable. And that's why I really say to strike when it is hot, and they didn't do it. And the government, because they have been complacent, and let me tell you, when you have opportunity to do things and are not held accountable, I can assure you continue in the wrong. That is what we are seeing now. That's why the government minister, knowing that they have failed in all ramifications, say they should appealing for a stop. But after, if this is hidden, will you do the right thing? What is on ground to assure Nigerians that if Labour does not go on strike, or Labour peradventure hit your list, what is on ground to ensure that the suffering of Nigerians are ameliorated? What is on ground to show that basic needs of Nigerians are met? When the basic salary cannot even be discussed, that people are asking for 1.8 billion to discuss salaries. Even the 35,000 naira that was assured workers have not been given to them. So what's on ground? So the government in all ramifications have not met the expectation of Nigerians and have failed. That's why it's not surprising that the minister, knowing that Nigerians are really suffering, that what they are supposed to do have not been done, must appeal for peace. The minister cannot join any issues with any of them on points, and that this is what we are doing, this is what we have done, the country is good. You can't say that. So you have no choice than to appeal. Appeal, but unfortunately, what is on the ground of the appeal? What are you assuring Nigerians of doing? The one you said you did three months ago, none have been implemented according to Labour, about 3 out of 16. And the bill that you told the whole world was going to be given, but now we have not heard that the legislators have missed any amount of money. In no time, in less than 2 months of their being inaugurated, the Senate bought themselves Jeep worth 160 million for each of the senators. And if you ask them, they say it is tools for work. Okay, what about the average Nigerian that is on the street looking for work to survive? In some states like Kogi State, the basic salary of 30,000 is not even being paid. Most states have been on salaries. Like in my state, in Benue State now, there are arrears of about 8 months salary that was held by Oton. Yes, we must commend the new governor now that have not paid any salary. But there are arrears of salary that have not been paid. But the politicians are meeting all their needs. The humongous amount of money that was discovered from the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry that led to the suspension of the Humanitarian Affairs Minister. Can you imagine that in the country where people are starving and dying? This is the challenge we have, that the government have failed because the needful.
Was such money in that ministry?
Are you asking me? You had 3 billion was approved for verification. And it is not doubted. 3 billion was approved was the Minister of Internal Affairs not alleged, not alleged to have collected 480-something million for verification, and several other companies. So it's not a matter of whether the money was there. The money was used, the money for 3 billion for verification of Nigerians. Not all Nigerians, but people that they claim that are poor. So you see, the money is there. Deploy it for the welfare and benefit of Nigeria is what all are crying for. That's what Labour should have been doing all along. But to call for a meeting, call for a strike, one day after the call of the secretary and reach a memorandum of understanding with the government, it's unfortunate.
2 days to go for the striker, the government and Labour. Who really think will win this battle?
There's no battle. For me, it's the best of the same thing that are flocking together. So it's me and you that will suffer it. So it's not a matter of win. It's me and you on the street. Me and you outside are going to suffer it because government.
Are you saying that government is not worried of this?
Are you? We are. Yes, you are supposed to be asking me a question, but you sitting here now, are you seeing anywhere there you see that this government is worried about what is happening in the country?
But they are crying already. The minister is saying that.
So now, what are on ground to show they are worried about your plight and my plight?
Okay,
what are on ground to show that Nigerians are expectant of what will happen? What on ground? The minimum of which is the dollar now. How much is the dollar as we speak today? And that's where everything go to the market. A loaf of bread, Chico bread that they sell now, that was 800, 700, is 1,600. Not all that type of bread we are talking about. That is staple food for an average Nigerian. So what are on ground to show me and you that the government are trying? What are on ground to show me and you that Labour will stick with the masses? So it's not a matter of who will win. Both of them don't care about me and you. The unfortunate thing is, how long are we going to suffer? And how long can Nigerians take this? That's my fear. How long can we suffer? How long can people take this? That's the fear I continue expressing. Labour are not supposed to allow people on the street to take over this fight of betterment of their welfare. Because if that is done, you might not be able to control it. If it's spirit ever, me and you will suffer it. We now have insecurity, and if we have street by street protests and demonstration now, we can't move anywhere anymore.
Should that be the fault of the Labour? I thought the fault of the respective states.
So that's what I'm saying. It is Labour. If Labour will organize and insist on strike and follow up this strike and negotiate for the betterment of the welfare of Nigerians, me and you will not be on the street fighting for our well-being. But we will not be fighting on the street for poverty, as we saw hunger as we are seeing in Kano and Niger State recently. Because if Labour have held government accountable, follow government bumper to bumper, and ensure that salaries are increased. Because if your salary is increased to a reasonable minimum wage, you'll be able to go to the market and buy more. And if you buy more, the person in the farm where the selling will have. If you have the person selling will now give it to the end user producer, who is the farmer. And the farmer will have enough money to buy seedlings and other things to farm against next year. But if you don't have minimum wage, if you don't have reasonable minimum wage, you cannot go to the market with what you have. You cannot feed yourself, feed your family. Where do you go to? And that's where I say Labour is accountable, and they are letting it spiral out to the streets. And if it does that, that will not be beneficial to me and you. The forests are not safe, the streets are not safe. Where are we?
Are we looking at a scenario where they say when the two elephants are fighting, the grasses?
Exactly.
So we the masses of Nigeria are the grasses.
Are they fighting? That's the question. That's the challenge in my whole scenario now.
But the battle line is drawn. It looks like there's a battle line already.
Yes, good and fine. It's a fair battle line in facade. That me and you to deceive me and you. The so-called battle line was it not done about 3 months ago? And after 1 day or 2 days of strike, they say you call up the strike that reached a memorandum of understanding the government. Have anything been implemented? That it's you have just said it all. The two elephants are pretending to fight. Then me and you are here suffering. But I keep on saying that this suffering, as we are the grass that suffer, the grass can rise and consume everybody, including the grass and the elephant and the elephants. That's the challenge and the fear I have. That if this is not nipped in the bud, if Labour does not stand up to responsibility and act the way they should act for the welfare of the masses, if the government is not responsive to that basic responsibility as for government for the welfare of the people, the grass might react.
So you're saying it's too late for Labour?
It's not too late. What I'm just saying, let them go to this negotiation with sincerity of purpose.
And insist that it must be.
Yeah, let them go to this with sincerity of purpose. What I'm saying, not saying it's too late for Labour. I'm saying that Labour are disappointing Nigerians. That Nigerians are not trusting Labour as they used to trust Labour. Labour are not fighting. That's why I'm saying you cannot say two elephants are fighting. Two elephants are romancing. Labour that is supposed to be the other elephant in the room is romancing the other elephant, or is the government, which is not supposed to be so. That's the unfortunate scenario we have in the country now. And the masses are now forced to be on the streets, which is not supposed to be allowed because we cannot control the consequences.
Barrister, if given the opportunity in 2 days' time and this strike is on the streets of Nigeria and government call for negotiation, what would be your advice to the Nigerian Labour Congress?
Yes, they will go for the negotiation, but insist. What are we even negotiating? These negotiations have been dealt with before, effectively.
Implemented.
Exactly. And resolutions have been reached. Have they been implemented? From your intro, they said I've implemented only 3, maybe minimal of maybe writing of them and crossing of T's. But the core of the negotiation has it been. So what are we negotiating? So that's the point now. What if Labour go to negotiate? Please implement what we have agreed upon. If Labour insists on that and the government is fluid, they will not have any problem. The government of Tinubu came in about 10 months or about 9 months or thereabout ago, since May. And one of the major things they were talking about was of review of salaries, based on the fact that subsidy was removed and the money gotten from subsidy should deploy to other infrastructure development in the country, like the health sector, education, and so on. Now, in the budget that was presented, what was in the health sector, what was in the education? The bulk of the budget went to the military, to the defense. Okay, now, the health sector is like more or less comatose. Most of the health facilities are non-functional. Drugs, essential drugs, are not in Nigeria. That's what you can't afford to be sick now. We all pray to God to make you healthy, because essential drugs are out of stock or way out of the reach of people. Ataquick, that used to be sold at 500, 800 for basic malaria first line treatment, it's 2,200 now, of a salary of 30,000 naira, and you are supposed to take it for how many days? So these are the things that the subsidy that was said to have been removed from fuel was supposed to be deployed to other areas. Enhancement, because as you remove subsidy, price of goods clearer out of hand, and then the purchasing power of the worker is down. So you are supposed to have augmented that to meet transport costs and other costs that the worker should deal with. Till date, the 35,000 that is said with palliative to ameliorate workers' efforts to be added to the 30,000 now, has it been paid? We have not heard that conversation. So now, is there any room for negotiation? Is there anything for negotiation when we have resolutions already on ground? So if Labour want to go on this strike, their thing is not to negotiate. Any negotiation called for by government now is for you, please implement. Implement and let us know what's on ground, because we have been talking. There are resolutions that are there, still fresh, have you implemented. So what are you coming to negotiate when you have not implemented the earlier? The basics, which is just the enhancement of the salary of the worker, has it been met? Because if the salary is reviewed upwards reasonably for the average Nigerian worker, then things will naturally change. And your phone is someone can afford. Now, just from Lube area to area 1 or Begana is 800, 1,000 naira per job. How much is the man earning? He has a family, only on transport alone, 30,000 naira is gone. You're not talking about feeding, you're not talking about clothing, you're not talking about shelter. So these are the basics. So what are we negotiating when the resolution has been met? Why won't you just implement the resolution? And that's why I said, if Labour are sincere about this strike, they should insist on this to be implemented before strike is called off. Let them not just come and do Nigeria what they did the last time. After a day's strike, they call off strike, say they have finished negotiation. That will not be fair to us.
Barrister, do we expect like a 2 weeks until government comes into it, the strike should continue?
That is my take, so that you hold government accountable, so that government will do what they're supposed to do for the masses. Because by the time they... but
the masses will suffer more than the government, because you rightly said that they have everything.
Now, what are the masses having now? But if we don't go to offices and we don't work, it will be comatose. And then we depend on foreign investment. And the foreign investment coming to the country, no office to implement, no papers to work, nobody to attend to your visa, nobody to attend to your quota system, nobody will you want to come, you keep your investment, and that the government will not want. So that is where the power of Labour is, to ensure that these things work effectively. So if Labour utilize this very well, government must come to terms to implement the basis that have been agreed upon before now.
It called upon the federal government to honor its commitment without delay, adding that the time for empty promises and excuses have passed. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will be looking at perhaps government usual way of romancing the labor if what my guest is talking is correct. So when we come back, we'll look at what will be the strong point of the two parties. Hopefully, there is a dialogue coming on your way. Don't go away. This is Midday Discourse coming away from Nigeria's capital city. This is Global TV, and my guest is in the studio. I'm talking about Barrister Godwin, giving us a solution to the pending strike by the Nigeria Labour Congress. Don't go away. Our patience has been taken for granted, and they will do everything possible to mobilize our workers and masses all over the Federation for further silence amount to committing mass suicide. And this remains the only visible cost of action left with the Nigeria Labour Congress. The Labour Congress is talking tough ahead of its strike, which is about less than 48 hours to go. But my guest in the studio, Barrister Godwin Oboji, is saying that the Labour can do more than this. Barrister, let's come. Of course, I guess the Labour Hall is usually their meeting point, or perhaps at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, and where they normally meet. Would they, from what you are saying, it looks like the blackboard doesn't have space for dialogue again. And you are saying that, okay, if government call them for dialogue, from their houses, they should start responding by mail to say, we can't come until you meet our demands.
As simple as that. That is for me. Let all of us stay at home. Government need not dialogue anything, because there's nothing to dialogue against. Resolution, because they have met and met. I keep on saying, let's not forget, we are not from the moon.
Do they have this money, Barrister? Do you think we have this money to solve this problem?
We don't have money, and we bought 4 million naira car for 409 senators. We don't have money, and the budget of the National Assembly was not, we heard about their institutions. We don't have money, and the presidency, we approved 3 billion for verification of data. We don't have money, and the executive is 48. We don't have money, and the entourage of all these persons, they say they have seemingly thrown it down, but we see more of them outside. We don't have money. We don't have money, and there's provision for a humongous amount of money for the Chief of Staff's office that have never been budgeted for before, but now is on the subhead of the president, but now a budget of his own. We don't have money, and the federal government is funding the office of the First Lady that is not constitutionally recognized. So this is the problem. We have the money. It's how to implement and use the money judiciously that is the problem. It is not a matter. You can have money now, and instead of you to do the needful, you use to go and drink and float around. Will you say you don't have money? It's to channel these resources to the right angle, and we will not have any more challenges. That is what is done everywhere in the world. Yes, I concede to the fact that we are going through tremendous period of time. Our foreign exchange reserve is down. We don't export, we import everything. We're supposed to keep our reserve good, is not there. Education has collapsed. Everybody is forced to go outside the country to give his children education if you can afford it. Pressing on the dollar. The health sector have collapsed. Every person is running out of the country. Common in Ghana and India and South Africa are where people go to now for treatment, and that is a force on the demand of on the dollar and a lot of things. Now, where we want to ordinarily have food stuff, now we are forced to import food hard on the dollar still. So, but if resources are plugged into education and the health sector, the dollar exchange will naturally come, because the money people use abroad will not be there again, because you have health sector that are good, education sector that are good. If you have money, almost all my children are in private school. Is that supposed to be so? If public schools are functional, why would I want to take my children to private schools? If I don't take my children to private schools now, will I have enough resources in my hand to do other things and not mind the infrastructure, or the fuel subsidy remover? These are the challenges we are talking about. So you cannot say there's no money. Within me and you, from May 29th, when this present government came on board, and the monies you have seen them spending in resources, I'm telling you now, we say we don't have money, and people confidently ask for 1.8 billion naira to 37 persons. Let's qualify 37 persons to just discuss about minimum wage of Nigerians, 1.8 billion naira, and what have been approved for them, 500 million naira. You say we don't have money? We have money that can ensure that the base of necessities of life of Nigerians can be met. We have money where government can be in a position to fulfill its obligation of maintaining welfare of the populace. But the point is that, are we willing, is the government willing to do the needful? If we are willing, have you seen the convoy of the Senate President and the Speaker of House of Reps, the people that followed them? I was in the function last week, and I saw the number of persons that followed the Deputy Speaker, not any person, just the Deputy Speaker, to the function. So these are the challenges we have. The little resources we have, can we use them effectively for the maximum benefit of majority of persons? The first thing we have are the minority of persons are the bulk of the resources we have for their own benefit and welfare. That's the challenge we have. The money that will take us out of this challenge, the money that will make Nigerians feel the impact of government is there. But are we using them appropriately? That is the challenge we have. So the resources that we need to keep us afloat and make us expand and make us develop to come to a place where we'll be far better is there. But is it being well deployed? That's the question we should ask. Not that whether we have money for the benefits the money we have properly being utilized.
Barrister, where did we get it wrong as a country? Because you can't take it away from the government and only the workers. Yeah. But collectively, where did we get it wrong?
I think that you have just hit the nail on the head. That's the most appropriate question. We got it wrong when we now encourage impunity. I've said in almost all the forum, my media intervention in almost everything I do, is that corruption is even the least of our problem. Our major problem is present impunity. We do not punish offenders. Till date, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs has been suspended. Have you heard of any outcome of probe or investigation or complaint about that? And in no time, that will be forgotten, right or wrong. Let us say he did not even do anything. Who were the people involved? You heard somebody in the NSI, the director of manager of NSI, transferring billions to different accounts, taking money from government coffers to a personal account, and nobody is held accountable. So if you don't punish impunity, why will people not be encouraged to go into it?
Where should we start this punishment?
The point is that any infraction, not just in government, any infraction should be punished. And that will serve as a deterrent. The problem we have in Nigeria is that because people go scot-free with blue murder, barefaced fraud, it encourages us to do that. Okay, let's go to Kogi State. Someone will tell you that election will be ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. I know it's imputation of bringing on touts. And then it actually happens that way. Where do you take it? And there's no punishment. You have an Akwabi that did not win election. You have a lad that did not win election. They were in the primaries for the presidential election. Presidential election held simultaneously with the senatorial election. But today, these persons are in the Senate. And now you now tell people not to do what is wrong. The society encourages so that it goes, as well as it goes beyond the government. Me and you and every person. Because we support impunity. Because there's no punishment. There's no deterrent. Look, me and you are not as bad as we think. The whites and European and American are not better than me and you. They are all common criminals also. But the difference there is that any crime, any infraction of the law, any illegality is punished and punished swiftly. Because of that, you don't want to be involved in crime or any illegality because you know you'll be punished. And to avoid that punishment, you will be a good citizen. Now, the former governor of Central Bank is alleged to have created dollar market left, right, and center, give who he wants dollar, and changing people's fortune for good or for bad at any point in time. What has happened? Nothing. With the proper investigation now, go to the police station today now, you lay a complaint now. If you don't provide the finances, you cannot get your funds investigated very well. And you do not therefore because there's no budget for basic things to be provided for them. So if you see that impunity reigns, there's no punishment, there's no deterrent, why would the society not deteriorate to the level we are now? So that is why your question is, where do we get it wrong? It's very hard. We should go back to our system. Where in our villages those days, we know that no matter who you are, and you bring things that is not deserving of your status, you to be rejected, you'll be exposed. But can we do that now? That is the challenge we have, that impunity is being celebrated. Criminality is being celebrated. That is now pushing us to the brinks, unfortunately.
Midday Discourse right on Global TV, Nigerian's capital city. My guest has been Barrister Godwin Oboji. He is a legal practitioner right here in Nigerian's capital city. Is providing solutions on how we can get back on track as a nation with all that has been happening since independence. He is of the opinion that corruption is not the worst, just the least if you ask him, but that the Nigerian Labour Congress can do better rather than just holding on strike. And he has failed to tell us what else can they do to implement. And he's saying that when they meet, because obviously there will be a dialogue in the building somewhere not too far from the Federal Secretariat for those of us in the Nigerian's capital city. The law, you are saying that it means they should also prepare not even to leave the hall.
No. Why would they even go to the hall?
Okay, they shouldn't even.
Why would they even go? I will not have. The point is, I will deny the fact that there are resolutions. Labour itself have told you they have had resolutions. They have only 3 have been met. The core part of this resolution have not been met. So what are you discussing outside what you have already found resolution for? Which is not just Labour imposing on them. The government sat and agreed and signed. So what are we discussing again? That is my take. And that's why I said Labour should not fool us. Labour going to this scenario, they say it's mass suicide, it's not, we must talk, we are tired of excuses, we have been taken for granted. Good and fine, good rhetoric. But let's have action to match this rhetoric. And that's why I'm saying, what is the government telling you? You are giving the government 2 days ultimatum, you have 14 days, 2 days to the end of the ultimatum now, and they are telling you, calm down, shelve the strike. And then what are you saying? You are just saying here, you are tired, you are not going to keep quiet again. Have you told government implement that there's nothing to make us stop? We want implementation of what we have agreed upon. For you, instead of this long rhetoric, tell us, implement, and then we will not go on strike. Are you hearing that? You are hearing the same story. You see, it is not about studio unionism or this type of thing that glasses the heart anymore. Yes, you are Labour, you can talk, but that's not it. Have you not spoken enough? Have you not had negotiation with this government? The government said we just came on board, give us time, things will improve. You said because of that, we did not push further with the strike action. You gave time. Since then, what has been done? Have the government before this ultimatum called you that this is a step you are taking, but this is a challenge you are facing, we need a review of this? Nothing of this nature have been done. And the government is telling you to calm down. And as I tell you now, it's not a fighting of 2 elephants, it's a romance of 2 elephants now. You hear what Labour will say after the first day of the strike. They'll tell that, okay, they have helped government. But that's not supposed to be so. As you say, push it where it is hot, then you see results. Because if you allow it down and Nigerians get used to it again, come from 1 day strike, go back to work again, I think they take it serious. The Nigerians take the Nigerian Labour Union serious as it is now. But the Labour Union should redeem itself. Not just for itself alone, but for the benefit of Nigeria. Leave the government alone, they will not care about what happens to me and you. But the Labour have the effective mechanism and tools, which is the workforce, which is strike, which is coordination of even the unemployed labor into a movement that will compel government to do the needful. So let the Labour Union with sincerity purpose pursue this and ensure result is gotten. There's no need for dialogue, there's no need for rhetoric. Implement. It's as simple as that. We have gotten to a point where all points have been agreed, identified, and it's just for implementation. So if you start and there's a challenge, then yes, everybody will understand with you. Me and you agree that we are going to cross River State today. We must board the vehicle to start moving. Then the vehicle stop on the road. Then yes, actually we started the journey. But not that you say we are going to cross River State. Here we'll be talking here. Yes, cross River is good. We are going by air. We are going by sea. We are going by road. No problem. We are going to go. For the next one, you are talking about to go to cross River State. We have not gone there. So where are we talking? Get into implementation. Then we can know what we are talking about. What have government put on the table that we are implementing? Let government tell the world that's what we are implementing. The minimum they are supposed to have done by now should at least increase workers' salary. Has that been done? And the committee that will deal with that, the committee that was supposed to have set up long ago, came up now to demand for 1.8 billion. 37 of them. To implement, to discuss implementation of minimum wage for Nigerian workers. 37 persons are demanding for 1.8 billion. So what are we going to talk? I'm not tired of talking. It is now that government wants to inaugurate a committee that will discuss minimum wage. Is there any sincerity or purpose in this? So that's the challenge I'm facing.
Now let's look at, because you said the Labour can put up a better strike, massive one, but some government sector will come out to say it is politically motivated. And let's look at the case of Niger State. Will a hungry man be forced to go to the street to say he's hungry? So
the hunger will force you. Any person that says is politically motivated will just be lying to himself. But there are certain things that you say because you have to say because you are in government, but it's unfortunate that nobody will listen to you or believe you. As it is now, will any person say the suffering is politically induced? Or people are not suffering, as you rightly say, people are not hungry. If somebody is hungry now, is it a political induction that will make him complain about his hunger? He's not eating, he'll complain. Is there anything about politics? And Nigeria is one of the easiest countries to govern. What Nigeria just wants is just the basis of life. Basis of life. Water, shelter, security, school, education. Basis of life. And it's over. And now you see people crying in Kano, crying in Niger, and not just these are the ones that came to the fore. That elsewhere is happening. Go to my state in Benue State. Recently, in my Tamba, Adoka, herdsmen took over the entire forest, killing people left, right, and center, and people were calling for arms. Go to Plateau State, every day people are being killed. No security. And I heard the president say they're going to form a military base in Plateau State. What about in Zamfara State? Where day in, day out, bandits are threatening. Katsina State Governor Rada recently cried out openly, state governor said the terrorists have said they're coming to attack him personally now. And Zamfara State, day in, day out now, bandits are there. But for this governor, the former minister of State for Defense now, former governor of Zamfara State was by day negotiating and talking with terrorists. Handing over states, go to Katsina State in Benue State now. There are some local governments, some areas you cannot go to. So these are the generality of the challenges we face. And now, people cannot farm anything, and then they demonstrate, the complaint of hunger, you say it's politically motivated. How do you relate that? If you say it, would that be the truth? And will any person care whether you say it's politically motivated? What have you done politically right that have countered all they have said? That you can point to that this is what we are doing as a government, and this is the result of it. So if you cannot put anything on the table that shows that whatever people are saying is contrary to what is happening on the ground, how can you say it's politically motivated and any person will listen to you? But that rhetoric cannot work, cannot fly. Is fuel not 670 naira in Abuja? Is minimum wage up to date not 30,000 naira? So how do you expect somebody that is working to survive on that? Are price of food not skyrocketing? A bag of rice that was 30-something, 40-something naira last year, Christmas now, is not 70,000 naira as we speak today. And by the day, going up to 77, 80,000 naira. I want to start, yes, I saw a price of rice of 70,000, 60,000 naira. But I saw some rice go for 120,000 naira. Rice. And these are the staple food of Nigerians. How much is beans now? How much is garri now? I go to the market, I see this in it, so well, there. So now, if people come to complain, we cannot afford this, it's difficult for us now, is it politically motivated? So that cannot fly in the face for any person in this time.
But this is a government that actually took part in several strikes
Exactly.
against those who were in power then. One should expect that before coming to power, they would have known all to solve this. What is exactly wrong, Barrister? Where do you think government is not getting it right as far as this hardship is concerned in Nigeria?
If you see the concept of this government, it is my turn, Emiloko. So ordinarily, one thought that there was a blueprint. Because if you put it on the ground, Tinubu have been one president that seemingly ought to have effectively prepared to become president. So all this teaching problem we are having now shouldn't have come up at all. Because you have somebody that should hit the ground running. This is a man that was one time governor that exceedingly, according to him and his team, built Lagos to what it is today. So coming to Nigeria now, you have been in government, you have been in opposition, you installed Buhari, you are part and parcel of what was happening in the government there, so you have knowledge of the nuances of the challenges of Nigerians will face. So these issues now should not be what will bother this government. We have come with a blueprint of solving a lot of problems. But unfortunately, all these things are not put on ground for us to pursue effectively. So that is the challenge we have, that this government taking governance for granted is putting us where we are today.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we will go more on the program. It's Midday Discourse right here on Global TV, Nigerian's capital city. Let's take a break. When we come back, there will be more with our guests in the studio. Don't go away. We are looking at a situation where we can have an answer to the 1 million naira unanswered question by Nigerians. The hardship and the government of the day is really trying to have an answer. Barrister, before we go, if you are given an opportunity to advise the present government on the way forward to solve this problem, what would be your top 3 priorities?
One, cut down the cost of government. We have too many ministers that are not necessary. So that at least you lead by example. When you lead by example, people will naturally queue. Whether I like it or not, leadership matters a lot. Yes, the followership are there to follow, but if you get the leadership right, you get it right. And if you cut down the cost of government, we'll have a long way to go. The minimum, it might not be substantial to go reflect, but it will not send signals down the train. Now you remove subsidy. Ordinarily, if you remove subsidy, there should be excess money at your beck and call now. The minimum wage of Nigerian workers should be negotiated because if the Nigerian workers have enough purchasing power, it will go around the system because they will buy, people who are buying from will buy from the next person, and people, the system, the economy will have what you are supposed to have. And then, most fundamentally, ensure security. My organ friend, Chief Ejiofor, have advised the government on several fora that I cannot leave our security at the hands of bandits and terrorists. We have trained armed forces. And even before now, President Tinubu in his campaign or his colloquium in Kano said you employ a lot of military personnel to take charge of security. How can forests in Abuja not be manned? How can kidnapping be going on daily basis in Abuja? And you have all the military formations here. Abuja is just a list. Now you saw what happened in Akure on Sunday. Where that GOU vehicle was kidnapped, living a child. It went viral everywhere. I'm talking about those several that have been happening left, right, and center. And these forests are known and everything. So if you secure the forest and chase out this person, because they have advocated that we should send our militaries to the forest. Because whether I would like it or not, this is an open declaration of war on Nigerians. They cannot ply the roads. The air is exorbitant. You cannot use the air because the money there is not for me and you. So where are we going to? So if you can effectively rid the forests of bandits and terrorists. I've told you in Nadoka in Benue State recently, last week, terrorists took over the whole village forest, killed and maimed whoever went to the farm. So if we can have security all over Nigeria, then people can go back to the farm. Before now, I don't need to go to the market to buy yam, gari, and all those things. I go to my farm, produce this, and I have it for a substantial period of time, and I have the money I used to buy this now in my pocket. So if the government can do these basic things, cut down the cost of government, ensure there's minimum wage increment for workers, and effectively chase out bandits and terrorists from our forests, we can now have where we can start talking from. So that is my advice for the immediate thing government can do before we start talking about other things. Because if you have security of life and property, we have food security that will naturally flow, and then the issue of hunger will not be what me and you are hearing of again, because I can go to the farm, you can go to the farm. But
are you ready to go to the streets if the Labour says let's go?
Why not? Because as they rightly said, this suicide. I don't go to the street, I'm in the room, I die of hunger. But I go to the street and government is forced and compelled to listen to us and do the needful. At least chasing out bandits from the street and negotiating workers' salary. Will that not be better for me? One way or the other, one will die. But instead of dying hungry and be cowed in the street, in your room, why don't you go to the street and die fighting for the right? That if anything happens to you, at least just let the hand will benefit from your struggle.
2 days to go for Labour strike.
I wish them well. As I've said, I don't have any confidence in this Labour movement. If they have to do what they are supposed to do, they do the needful, and they should not take Nigerians to the street and after one day call off strike and say they have negotiated and left it for implementation. As I said, that I've been saying in this program, there is nothing to negotiate again, it's for implementation. So they should insist that before we even talk further, implement the remaining part of the system agreement we have had. Now, if we see that everything is not going, they can come and negotiate terms or improvement. But for now, what are you saying again? The minimum we have negotiated, deal with that. Not for you to come and say you want to increase salary and be budgeting 1.8 billion for 37 people. Doesn't make any sense. So let's implement what has been agreed upon. Then we can negotiate whatever is the outcome of the implementation from there. Not to just say implement or discuss, negotiate, discuss. No, we have negotiated enough, and the resolution on ground. Let us implement the resolution and see the outcome of it.
Barrister Godwin Oboji, legal practitioner in Abuja, I want to say a very big thank you for being part of this program.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope the Nigerian Labour Congress will lift the spirits of Nigerians and ensure that this time around, whatever they are doing, they should do it effectively well.
Midday Discourse on Global TV from Nigeria's capital city. Today's topic is of great importance to every Nigerian because Labour says their clock is ticking down. They have drawn the battle line against the Nigerian government for failing to meet their demands, 16 demands in all in the last time when they met, and both parties are hoping for a battle. Minister of Information has said the strike should not hold and is asking for more time, and Labour says there is no more time on our hands. There have been protests across Nigeria demanding for government intervention in hardship, which is hitting everyone across the country. When we come back next time on the program Meet the Discourse, we will be looking at the way forward with the ultimatum given to the government by the Nigerian Labour Congress as well as the TUC. My name is Clinton Agbo, thanking you for having time to join us on the program. Do hope that you will be part of us again tomorrow for another fresh edition of the program Meet the Discourse on Global TV, right here in Nigeria's capital city. On behalf of everyone who made today's edition of the program wonderful, we'll say a big thank you to you, most especially for those of you joining us wherever you are. Thank you very much, and we are out of the studio.